Taxand Tax Updates. Disclaimer: the following information is intended only to be a guide. It must not be relied on in or applied to specific situations without previously seeking proper professional advice. Income tax facilities. With the intention of attracting investors to invest in Indonesia, the government of Indonesia has implemented policies specifically in the fiscal sector to create, maintain, and improve the investment climate. One of the concrete steps taken by the government is to provide income tax facilities in the form of tax holiday and tax allowance. Tax holiday. Tax holiday is a tax facility in the form of a reduction in the corporate income tax on income received by taxpayers from their main business activities. Tax holiday is given to corporate taxpayers who have made new investments in pioneer industries, namely industries that have broad linkages, provide high added value and externalities, introduce new technology, while also having a strategic value for the national economy. There are several criteria that must be met by taxpayers should they wish to obtain the benefits of the tax holiday facility, namely taxpayers who are involved in a pioneer industry, have the status of a legal entity in Indonesia, make a new investment that has never been issued, including a decision to grant or reject the corporate income tax reduction, a decision to grant income tax facilities based on Article 31A of the Income Tax Law, a notification of granting a net income reduction based on Article 29A of Government Regulation No. 45 of 2019, and a decision to grant income tax facilities at special economic zones. They must also have new planned investment values of at least 100 billion rupiah, meet the provisions of debt-to-equity ratio according to Minister of Finance Regulation No. 169 PMK 010 of 2015, and commit to start realizing the investment plans by no later than 1 year after the issuance of the corporate income tax reduction decision. The corporate income tax reduction facilities provided are as shown in the table below. For new investments amounting to greater than or equal to 100 billion rupiah and less than 500 billion rupiah, there is a 50% CIT reduction for a period of 5 fiscal years, while a 100% CIT reduction will be given to new investments amounting to greater than or equal to 500 billion rupiah and less than 1 trillion rupiah for 5 fiscal years. For new investments amounting to greater than or equal to 1 trillion rupiah and less than 5 trillion rupiah for 7 fiscal years. For new investments greater than or equal to 5 trillion rupiah and less than 15 trillion rupiah for 10 fiscal years. For new investments amounting to greater than or equal to 15 trillion rupiah and less than 30 trillion rupiah for 15 fiscal years, and for new investments amounting to greater than or equal to 30 trillion rupiah for 20 fiscal years. After such period ends, there is a transition period for the following 2 fiscal years, which are as follows. Taxpayers who previously received a reduction of 100% will now receive 50%, and taxpayers who previously received a reduction of 50% will now receive 25%. To find out whether taxpayers can benefit from the tax holiday facilities, taxpayers can apply for the fulfillment of the criteria through the OSS system. The OSS system will deliver a notification to the taxpayer on whether or not the new investment meets the criteria. Furthermore, the application for a reduced tax holiday facility must be made prior to the commencement of commercial production. The application is simultaneously submitted with the registration to obtain a business identification number for new taxpayers or by no later than 1 year after the issuance of a business license for the new investment. Tax allowance. The term tax allowance refers to the provision of tax facilities in the form of reducing the basis for the imposition of income tax for investments in certain business fields and/or in certain regions. Based on Article 2, Paragraph 1 of Government Regulation Number 78 of 2019, or GR 78 of 2019, income tax facilities are provided to domestic corporate taxpayers who invest in main business activities for both new investments and expansions of existing businesses, excluding replacements and/or additions of machines and/or equipment utilized in commercial production lines. In order to be granted the income tax facilities, the investment must be made in certain business fields referring to the 166 business fields based on Appendix 1 of Government Regulation 78 of 2019, and/or certain business fields and in certain areas referring to the 17 business fields based on Appendix 2 of Government Regulation 78 of 2019, and must meet certain criteria and requirements. The criteria that must be met include having a high investment value, or it must be for export, having a large employment absorption, or having a high local content, while certain requirements are listed in Attachments 1 and 2 of GR 78 of 2019. Income tax facilities, regulated in GR 78 of 2019, can be in the form of reduction in net income of 30% from the total investment value in the form of tangible fixed assets including land, which is expensed for 6 years at 5% per year. Acceleration of depreciation of tangible fixed assets and amortization of intangible assets acquired in the framework of investment. The income tax rate on dividends paid to foreign taxpayers aside from permanent establishments in Indonesia will be 10% or a lower rate according to a tax treaty, and the compensation for fiscal losses that exceed 5 years but does not exceed 10 years. The application for taxpayers to obtain income tax facilities must be submitted online before the commencement of commercial production through the OSS system. The application is simultaneously submitted with a registration to obtain a business identification number for new taxpayers or by no later than 1 year after the issuance of a business license issued by the OSS institution for investment and/or expansion of business. Thank you for listening to PB Taxand Tax Updates.